Good morning, everyone. My name is Neha Kaushik, and today I will present my pre submission seminar on the topic Improving QS of Microservices Architectures Using Machine Learning Techniques under the joint guidance of Dr. Harish Kumar and Dr. Vinay Raj. These are the topics that I will be discussing today. Distributed systems have evolved rapidly as the demand for quick design and deployment of business requirement has increased. For the timely delivery of business needs and all that needs to be online, distributed systems play an important role. So, previously, monolithic style of client server architecture were used, but now it is shifted from service oriented architectures to microservices. This is the architecture of monolithic style that were used for developing the applications. Here, as we can see, there is a single database, and for the both front end and back end of the application is deployed as a monolithic single unit. It means that all the modules of the applications uh, are saved in a one single file and then deployed on the server, and it has only one database. The problem with the monolithic architectural style was that it has a single large block of code, which was difficult to update and maintain and also to deploy as the application size as the application size increases. So to make a single update in the system, the entire application needs to be shut down and redeploy every component. To overcome these challenges in monolithic applications, microservices architecture has emerged as a style of decomposing the entire application into loosely coupled, scalable, and interoperable services. This is the architecture of microservices style. So here we can see that the front end of the application is still monolithic and the back end of the application is divided into services. Here each service is responsible for performing a single task and has its own database, and there is a API gateway or aggregation layer which is responsible for communication between the front end and back end, and also the communication among the services. So the microservices is application is decomposed into loosely coupled services. These services can be developed, deployed, and updated independent of other services. uh, Here microservice architecture follows a single responsibility principle, which means that each service is responsible for performing a one business function. So each service is handled by a separate team, allowing them to use different programming languages and technology to develop their microservices. For communication, the microservices use a lightweight protocols such as representational state transfer, REST, and HTTP. Various configuration techniques can be used for deploying these applications, such as virtual machines, containers, and serverless, or a combination of them can be used for deploying the applications. Some of the benefits of the microservice architectural style involves agility, scalability, fault tolerance, and delegation of team responsibilities. These benefits influenced the large IT companies such as Netflix, Uber, and eBay to develop their application using this architectural style. So now this is the problem. These are the problems related to the microservices architectures. Here, we in the literature survey, I have categorized all the challenges that the researchers has discussed in their work into three categories. The first category belongs to the development of microservices architecture based systems. The second category is quality of service, and the third one is the microservices deployment. Although these categories, the problems are categorized into three categories, but both development of microservices based system and microservices deployment significantly influences the QoS of microservice applications. So microservices identification, the size of the granularity of the microservices, the how the composition means how the microservices will communicate to each other and what functions should be assigned to each microservice, and how the existing systems that were developed using some different architectural style can be migrated to the microservices architectural style, are some of the challenges belongs to the development of microservices architecture based application. The next challenge or the next problem that I identified in the literature review is that microservices monitoring. Because of the distributed nature of microservices architectural style, it makes it difficult to monitor them. The next issue is security, and next is service availability. Sometimes the because of various kind of failures, thus microservices becomes unavailable. So making the services available is also one of the challenges. Next one is maintainability. Because the microservices are distributed in nature, and the failure of one microservice is difficult to identify, and also the front end of the microservice is still monolithic, so it is difficult to maintain the microservices application. Next one is reliability. The application should be reliable under dynamic environments. So this is also one of the challenges that we identified in the literature survey. Next one is testing. Performance testing and reliability testing are some of the testing challenges that we identified in the literature survey. The next one is faults and anomalies. That how the faults can be detected, what were their root causes, is there any way to predict the faults, are some of the challenges related to the fault and anomalies of the microservices application. The next one is microservices performance. Maintenance, performance assessment, improvement, and root cause analysis of performance issues are some of the challenges related to the performance of microservices application. The next category of the problems that we identified in the microservices application is microservices deployment. Efficient processing of microservices, deployment management, that where the instances of the microservices should be placed, how the workload should be distributed among the microservices, what kind of scaling, horizontal or vertical scaling should is required for the maintaining the QoS of microservices. So these are the challenges that are related to the deployment of microservices applications. So, for the literature survey, in total, we extracted 5 to 8 articles, 528 articles from all the libraries. Then we removed the duplicate papers, and in total, we gathered 345 papers. After that, we identified the articles that are relevant to our topic. So then we find out 129 articles, and in end 148 articles were the final paper that we study for our literature survey. So for the extraction of the papers, first we identified the journals, the papers that were related to the key quality attributes of microservices. Then if it is is it means related to the, is it the latest paper or related to our research area. Based on all those categories, we identified or extracted the papers. They, after identifying the three main problems related to microservices, we performed some a detailed survey and studied various survey papers to identify which area that we need to focus on. So, in the end, we identified that both the deployment and development of microservices directly or indirectly impact the QoS of microservices application, and also various studies suggested to improve the QoS of microservices application. So that's why we further explored the QoS improvement of microservices for our research work. For that, we studied various surveys papers and identified the key quality attributes that contribute or affects the overall QoS of microservices the most. So here these are the studies that we explore to identify the key quality attributes of microservices. So in the first study, maintenance, performance, reliability, and security are the key quality attributes that contribute the most in the performance QS improvement of microservices application. So here we can see that next is performance monitoring, logging, debugging, fault localization are the key quality attributes. So we can see that these are the key quality attributes listed by various studies. Security, monitorability. So in the end, after the literature review, we identified that uh, performance, reliability, maintainability, fault tolerance, and security are the key quality attributes that can contribute the most in improving the QS of microservices application. But among all these quality attribute, we have focused, or our work addresses only performance, reliability, maintainability, and fault tolerance to improve the overall quality of microservices application, because most of the studies suggested these quality attribute to need improvement. These are the survey findings. We have categorized that how the ML is used for improving the QS, what different deployability challenges in various computing environment has arisen, or what kind of computing environment is used by various studies. So next one is the performance related issues, and other one is showing the scalability issues related to the microservices applications. In this diagram we can see that the publication venue and computing environments for various quality attributes. So we have here we have several quality attribute: deployability, maintainability, observability, performance, reliability, fault tolerance, scalability, security, and testability. So these are the various quality attribute. We can see the publication values and the different computing environments used for the deployment of microservices applications. This is the paper that we have communicated based on the literature survey. So this paper includes the literature survey of our work. So thus this paper is currently means we have submitted the revision for this paper in the SAI Index journal. Now, these are the research problems that are framed for our work. So, first one is, how can the performance of microservices application be improved? What factors influences the performance, and what metrics can be utilized to accurately measure and evaluate it? The next problem is that how can the reliability of microservices applications be enhanced? What key parameters must be addressed to achieve this improvement? How can the maintainability of microservices applications be enhanced? What challenges contribute to reduced maintainability in such application? What metrics can effectively measure and evaluate the maintainability of microservices applications? Why is fault prediction crucial for microservices application? What data should be used for as input for fault prediction? And how can accurate prediction enhance efficient fault management in these applications? So the basically we have four research problems, and based on these four research problems, we have framed our four objectives to address the research problems properly. The first objective is to define a micro front-end based performance improvement framework and prediction for microservices using machine learning. The next objective is to define a novel approach for enhancing the reliability of microservices application under dynamic workloads. The next objective is to define a framework for maintainability improvement of microservices based applications using micro front-end. The next objective, the last objective, is to define the microservice learning model for proactive fault prediction in microservices applications using trace logs and monitoring metrics. This is our first objective, to define a micro front end based performance improvement framework and prediction for microservices using machine learning. The motivation of the first objective is that basically we have identified performance, reliability, maintainability, and fault tolerance as the key quality attributes. So we focus whatever papers that we study in our literature survey, most of the papers were focusing on the performance improvement of microservices application by focusing on their operational phase, but no paper was discussing for the performance improvement of applications by focusing on their development phase. So we wanted to identify whether is there any possibility for improving the performance of microservice application by focusing on the development phase rather than on the operational phase, and what criteria should be used to compare the performance of microservices applications in the presence and absence of the proposed approach. What metrics should be used to compare the accuracy of the performance prediction model, and also are there any existing works for performing empirical analysis. So these were the motivations that motivated us to for the performance improvement of microservices application. These are the papers that we studied in our research work to identify this proposed solution, or what to direct us in a proper way. So these are the paper. The first paper, the author focused on the workload aware efficient scaling of resources for improving the performance of microservices application. In his work, the author used only a single microservice, but an application can consist of thousands or multiple number of microservices. So this was the drawback of the proposed work. The next work focused on the communication aware deployment of microservices for the performance improvement. So if we continue, or if we see all the research works, we will identify that all the authors have focused on the operational phase of microservices for improving their performance. As we can see in the next paper, the author used a monitoring approach to track the microservices to scale. So we can see next one is interaction aware deployment. So we will see all the works are focusing on the operational phase. So that's why find out a gap that no existing work is focusing on the performance improvement by focusing on the operational phase. So the contribution of this objective one is to develop a model where micro front end has been used for designing the user interface of the application, and microservices have been used for designing the backend architecture of the same application. Then we conducted an empirical analysis to investigate the performance of the proposed model and compared it with existing monolithic front end following microservices architecture based application. In the next step, we have proposed a machine learning based model to predict the response time of microservices architecture based application, which can be used for making performance improvement decisions. So this is the proposed work. As we can see now in the proposed work, we have divided the front end of the microservices application into the small services, same like the back end. So here we have divided whole application into several services, and now each service can be developed, deployed, and updated independent of other services. We will have a separate dedicated team for each service. A different programming language or the technology can be used for the development of each service. Now, the if a user send a request, it will be directly forwarded from the front end to the back end. So this is the proposed architecture. Same is written. The web page of the application consisting of micro front end and microservice can contain a single or multiple services depending upon its requirement. So this is the working that how the micro front end followed by a microservices based architecture based application work. So initially the application will be opened. The home page will be displayed on the screen. Now the home page may contain a single micro front end service or multiple number of micro front end services based on the requirement or based on the architecture or the design of the application. When the user will click on a link, an API request will be sent to the routing layer. Now, based on the click, the routing layer will select the appropriate front end service. If there are more than one services are selected, then it will integrate them and then display it on the screen. Now, if the user make a request for anything, then that particular service will be responsible for forwarding that request to the backend service for processing it and sending the response to the user. So, suppose we have home service receive a user request. Now home service will forward that request to API gateway, and the API gateway without processing anything will directly communicate to the service in the backend, that is home microservice. And then home microservice will process that request and will communicate its own database, process that request, and then forward the response to the API gateway. Then API gateway will send the response to the home service micro front end service. Then the home micro front end service will send that response to the routing layer, and then routing layer will display that output on the screen to the user. So this is how the micro front end followed by microservices architecture will work. The same is written here. The routing layer identifies the user actions such as link clicks and maps them to the appropriate front-end service based on the predefined rules. These services are dynamically loaded and integrated into a web page, ensuring modular and seamless rendering of the user interface. If the user sends a HTTP request, the currently active front-end service captures this request. The front-end service prepares the HTTP request with all relevant data and send it to the API gateway. The API gateway acts as an entry point to the backend system. Now the API gateway parses the request to determine which microservices are responsible for processing it. Depending on the API design, it may forward the request to one or multiple backend microservices. Each microservice performs its specific task and may communicate with other microservices as needed to fulfill the request. If multiple microservices are involved, their response may be aggregated by the API gateway or orchestrated service to form a consolidated result. The API gateway sends the final response to the front-end service, which processes the result. So, this is how the proposed architecture will work. Now we have used a case study application for evaluating the performance of the proposed work. So in this we have two kind of application. One is the application which has the monolithic front end and microservices back end, and the another application has a micro front end and a microservices back end. So this is the application having the monolithic front end and microservices in the back end. So the case study application name is eShop application using monolithic front end followed by the microservices in the back end. The application consists of four components: home service, seller service, buyer service, and about service. Same technology stack is used for developing these components of the front end. Because the front end is monolithic, so that's why we have used a same technology stack. These components are then integrated to form a single code base. The backend of the application has four different microservices named home service, seller service, buyer service, and about service. When the user accesses this application, the web browser directly downloads the front end code of the application and then handle and render the user interface on the computer screen based on the user actions. While on the server side, when the browser sends HTTP request to the server receives that HTTP request and then calls the API gateway. The API gateway further calls the appropriate service to handle the user request. Now, this is the micro front end based microservices application. So, developed using the proposed architecture. So to build this application, the whole application is divided into four services that will responsible for performing a single task and independent of each other. These four services are named as home service, seller service, buyer service, and about service. The task of home service is to display and maintain the information related to the home page of the application. The seller service will be responsible for maintaining and displaying the information related to each seller and their rating given to them by the customers. The buyer service will maintain and display the information related to each buyer and their previous purchase history. The about service will be responsible to maintain and display the information related to each product available online. When the user accesses the application, then the browser will call the routing layer, which will call and assemble the respective services that are needed to be displayed on the page based on the user action. A single page will contain a single or more number of services. This is the empirical analysis using the both architectural style, the proposed one and the existing one. So the first, we have evaluated the performance of the both architectural style based on the average response time, minimum response time, and maximum response time of both kind of applications, error percentage and throughput. Here, error percentage represent the number of failed services. So, as the number of users increases, the error percentage also increases. But as we can see, the error percentage is increasing, is greater in the monolithic front end, but is less in when we have the micro front end followed by microservices in the back end. So here we can see the average response time also is less when we are using the micro front end and high when we have the monolithic front end. And the throughput also increases when we are using the micro front end of the application. So this is the graphical presentation of the empirical analysis for the home service. These are the results for the home service. In the case study application, we have four services: home service, buyer service, seller service, and about service. So we have the separate result for each service. So these are the results for the home service, the response time, throughput, and error percentage. And this is the graphical presentation of the empirical analysis for the home service. Here we can see that response time uh, in milliseconds and the number of users. So home service, the response time is, we can see for is greater or higher when we are using the monolithic front end, and is less when we are using the micro front end. Now this is the results of the seller service. So in the this in these results also we can see the response time is less when we are using the micro front end and is high when we are using monolithic front end followed by microservices in the back end. So error percentage is also high when we are using the monolithic front end and is less when we are using the Micro front end. Also, it is increasing as the number of users increases. The number of users can be greater than 10,000, but our system can support only 10,000 users at a time because of the high uh, hardware limitations. We can't send or we can't use the number of users more than 10,000. So this is the throughput. Again, the throughput is higher in case of micro front end based applications. This is the graphical representation of the maximum response time of seller service and average response time of seller service, and we can see that with micro front end the response time is less in comparison to the monolithic front end based microservices applications. So now these are the results of the buyer service. Again, in this also the response time is less when we are using the monolithic front end. Also, the throughput is higher when we are using the micro front end, and this is the error percentage. And this is the graphical presentation of the results of the maximum response time of buyer service and average response time of buyer service. So we can see that the response time is less when we are using the micro front end and high when we are using the monolithic front end microservices application. These are the results of the about service. The same goes here also. We are having better response time, better throughput, and better error percentage when we are using micro front end based microservices applications. Now, this is the maximum response time of about service and average response time of about service, and it is clearly visible that the proposed approach is leading to better response time. And these two graphs are showing the throughput when the number of user is 1 and when the number of users is 100. And we can see that the throughput is high with micro front end and low with monolithic front end. And here we can see that the throughput without micro front end is high for seller service, but for uh, when we are using monolithic front end, and low when we are using micro front end. So only in case of seller service the throughput is low using the proposed approach when the number of users is 100. Now here we can see that the throughput in all the cases for different number of users, the proposed approach is leading either the better throughput or same throughput under various number of users using the proposed approach. This is the performance prediction model. For performance prediction, we have used the multiple regression model for predicting the performance of microservices application using the response time of the application under various user requests. So these are the metrics: mean relative error, mean magnitude of relative error, and root mean squared error that are used for evaluating the accuracy of the proposed of the prediction model. So we can see that the proposed model, what kind of means result that it is showing, what we can see the accuracy of the proposed model. Now, different measures for the proposed prediction model are shown in this graph. So we can see that the response time using the predicted values is very close to the actual values, when the except in this case. So this work is included in the paper titled Micro Front-End Based Performance Improvement and Prediction for Microservices Using Machine Learning, and this paper is published in the SCI Index journal named Journal of Grid Computing and is available online. This is the second objective, which is to define a novel approach for enhancing the reliability of microservice application under dynamic workload. In the literature review, we mainly focused on the four quality attributes. The first one is performance improvement that we have already discussed. The second one is the reliability improvement. So objective 2 focuses on this quality attribute, the reliability of the microservices applications. The objective motivation of this objective is that first one, we identified four quality attributes that improve the overall quality of microservice application. So this is the biggest motivation because of which we targeted this quality attribute. Second one is that we wanted to identify the factors that influences the reliability of microservices application and how machine learning can be used for improving the reliability of microservices application. Then we tried to identify that is there existing work for performing the empirical analysis. So this is the literature work that we did for the reliability improvement. In the literature work, we identified that most of the works are either focusing on the reliability assessment or reliability testing, but a very less number of research work focused on the reliability optimization of microservice application. So this is the one limitation that motivated us to focus on the reliability improvement of microservices application. After that, we identified what factors affects the reliability of microservices application and how we can improve them. So in these papers, we can see the first paper is focusing on the reliability testing of microservices application. The next one focused on the reliability optimization and modeling for microservices based cloud applications using multi-agent systems. The next one focused on the reliability improvement of microservices application by efficiently handling the workflows of the application. The next one, the next paper focused on the performance and reliability testing. Another, so up to these, we identified that okay, a less number of journals or research work is focusing on the reliability improvement. So we targeted that reliability improvement is required and a less research work is done. In next papers, we will identify the factors that influences the reliability of microservices application. So uh, this is the work where the author proposed that a dynamic auto scaling approach for improving the reliability of microservices application by focusing on the workload and the CPU resources used by each instance or replica of microservices. The next one is the online reliability time series prediction via convolution neural network and long short term memory of service oriented system. In this paper, the author predicted the reliability of service oriented systems. So, a literature survey is conducted to identify the factors affecting the reliability of microservices application. Proposed a novel approach for improving the reliability of microservice applications under dynamic workload. An efficient machine learning model is used to predict the microservice instances for upcoming workloads. Extensive comparison of the reliability of the case study application under dynamic workload with and without using proposed approach. And this is the proposed work. So in the proposed work, we have divided we have divided it into four phases. The first phase is the reliability assessment. The second phase is the microservice instance prediction model learning. The third phase is the auto scaling with workload awareness, and the fourth phase is the communication aware placement of microservices instances. In the first phase, we have assessed the reliability of microservices applications by transferring workload on the application and then monitoring its response time for each workload. After that, we analyze the response time. If the response time is crossing a threshold response time value, then we have assumed or considered that particular user request as a failed request, or which may as a failed request. So this way we have collected the data and collected the performance and of the application, and then assess the reliability of the microservice application. In the next phase, we monitored the each service and their instance count and their response time, that under various workload, what is the response time of each microservice and how many instances it has to handle that particular workload. So these are the metrics that we collected, and based on these matrices, we trained a model using a decision tree regression model for predicting the instance count of each microservice application under various workloads. After training that model, instance prediction model, we focused on the auto scaling of microservice with workload awareness. For that, we predicted the workload of microservice application, and then use the microservice instance training model to predict the number of instances for that particular predicted number of workload or user request. So this way we will allocate the microservices instances for each microservice before the arrival of the bursty workload under dynamic environment. So this way we will not need it means this way the performance of the application or the application will not be unavailable to the end user under bursty workload, and we can efficiently handle this kind of environments. After predicting the instances, the next question is how to place those instances. Then for that we have used a communication aware placement strategy. So the microservices that communicate more frequently are placed on the same node, so that the communication overhead can be reduced and the microservice application can respond within time or without any further delay. So we have performed the placement of microservices based on the communication affinity of the microservices applications. So we have divided our proposed approach into four phases. The phase one is the reliability assessment, second one is the instance prediction model, third one is the workload aware auto scaling, fourth one is the communication aware placement. So first is phase one. So this is the algorithm that we have designed for the reliability assessment of microservices application. TM and RT are the inputs. TM means the time period, the monitoring time period for which we have monitored the application. N is the user request, and RT is the response time. So initially we will deploy the microservice application and initialize the n is equals to 0, which means number of users is equals to 0 and number of failed request is equals to 0. While TM means while we are monitoring the application, for each user request n, we will increase the value n by 1 and we will evaluate its response time. So initially what we are doing, we are calculating the number of user requests sent to the application and what is the response time of each user request. After that, we will analyze this collected data. So for each user request 1 to n, we will see if the response time of each user request is greater than the threshold response time. If yes, then that user request is considered as a failed request and the number of failed request is increased by 1. So in the end, we will be having total number of user requests sent to the application, which is n, total number of failed requests, which were means for which we received a delayed response or no response. So the nf we will have in total. Based on the n and nf value, we will calculate the reliability of the microservice application using the formula 1 minus nf divided by n. So this way we have assessed the reliability of microservices applications. The next phase is the instance prediction model. In this phase, in this for this we have used algorithm 2. In this phase, we are simply training the prediction model, instance prediction model under various workload situations. And then after training this model, we will use this model in the next phase, phase 3 of the proposed approach. So initially, in this model, what we will be doing, we will send the workload to the microservice application, and we will collect the performance metrics such as CPU, memory, and response time. Okay, so initially we will wait for TM seconds, means monitoring time, and monitor the call graph and performance of the application. We will collect the performance metrics, and also we will observe the call graph, that what communication is, means which microservices are communicating to each other, what is the communication pattern among the microservices. After that, for each microservice, which we have 1 to n, we will extract the response time and 95th percentile of response time of current time interval. It means that we will find out the response time, means 95th percentage of the response time for that particular current time interval. Okay, then we will compare that extracted response time with the threshold response time. If that response time is greater than the threshold response time, in that case we will increase the microservices instances. Okay, and if that response time is less than the response time of that particular time interval and previous two time intervals, it means if the response time of the current time interval and the previous two time intervals is less than the threshold divided by 2, then in that case we will reduce the number of microservices instances, and this thing will happen for each microservice. This way we will know that okay, for these many user requests, these are the number of instances required for each microservice. So this is the microservice instance and workload prediction model. The first phase was the uh, reliability assessment. Second was the microservice instance prediction. So and the third phase is the microservices instance, or workload aware scaling of microservices. For that, we will be needing the workload prediction model and instance prediction model, that how many instances are required. For that, we have used machine learning techniques. So for workload prediction, we have used linear regression, support vector regression, and decision tree regression model for predicting the workload and microservices instance count. We have used MRE for magnitude relative error for measuring the accuracy of the prediction. So the machine learning technique leading to the minimum error, MRE, is selected as the final technique for workload prediction and microservices instance prediction. MRE is equals to actual response time minus estimated response time divided by actual response time uh, of the services. So these are the results that we collected for the instance prediction and for the workload prediction. The next one is the workload aware auto scaling. So the algorithm 3 deals with the auto scaling with bursty workloads. First one is the one N, T, M, K, I are the inputs, and next one in this algorithm we will predict the number of container instances required for each microservice for handling the workload efficiently. So in this algorithm, first we will predict the workload for the next time interval, then we will predict the number of instances. So we will detect the burst in the workload. So here initially we will put is burst is equals to false, means initially we will consider that there is no burst in the workload. After that, the whole time, means when the application is functional, we will repeat the same number of steps for each microservice I to n. What we will do, we will wait for tm seconds. After that, we will predict the workload of microservice application, each microservice for each microservice, using the using the actual workload of previous k time intervals of each microservice. Means we will consider last k time intervals, and we will see what was their workload, and based on that workload we will predict the workload of next time interval. Same way, we will predict the instances of microservice application using the workload and the response threshold. Like we trained in the previous phase, what we used the response time only for predicting the number of instances. Here, we will use the response time and the workload for predicting the number of instances. This way, we will predict the number of instances for next time interval. After that, we now we have predicted the workload and instances. Now we will detect the burst, whether there is burst in the in the workload. If yes, based on that burst, we will again update the number of instances. So here we have the workload of k windows. So we have used, and then we have predicted the burst using the machine learning technique. Now we will select the maximum number of instances predicted for the k windows from the current window and the previous k windows, and we will select the maximum number of instances from all those predictions. Now if now we here we have burst prediction result. So now if we means have the if we predicted that in the next time interval there will be burst, then value of y is 1. So if y is equals to 1 and the initial value that we predict, that f, okay, is burst is false, it means we predicted that in the next time interval is burst, but currently there is no burst. Is burst will maintain what is the current status of the bursty workload. If currently there is no burst, but in future we will have a bursty workload, then make the current burst value as true from false, and allocate the number of container instances for each microservice as n max, means maximum number of instances for handling the bursty workload. The next case is that currently in the next time period we will have the bursty workload, and right now also the bursty workload is going on. So in that case we don't need to change anything, we just simply change the number of container instances to n max. The next case is that currently we in future there will be no burst, but and also currently there is no burst. So in that case we will simply keep the number of instances equals to the predicted number of instances. Now another case is that in currently we have bursty workload, but in future there will be no workload. Now bursty workload. So in this case we have two cases. If the predicted number of instances is less than n max, it means that if the predicted number of instances is less than n max, it means in future there will be no burst. So we made is burst false, and the number of container instances will be equal to the predicted instances. But if n predicted number of instances is greater than n max, it means that in future we will still be having the busty workload. So in that case, the number of container instances is equals to the n max, and we will continue the process. Now we have the predicted number of instances based on the busty workload. After that, what we will be doing, we will see is the number of predicted instances is greater than the allocated instances. If yes, okay, the number of predicted instances is greater than the number of allocated instances, then we will increase the huh, then we will if it is greater, it means we need to allocate more instances to each microservice, so the allocated instances are increased. If the number of predicted instances is less than the number of already allocated instances, in that case we need to remove the allocated instances, so we will remove the extra instances. Simple, and this process will continue until the application is in work. The next phase is the communication aware placement of instances. So this is the algorithm 4 which we have designed for communication aware placement of microservices instances. So for the communication aware placement of instances, we need to focus on few things. First one is the call graph of microservices. It means what microservices communicate to each other, and how many times they are communicating in a particular time period. So we will based on that we will identify the most important communication or most frequent communication, and we will try to keep those microservices together on the same node so that the communication overhead can be reduced. Second thing that we need to consider is that the resource requirement of each microservice. Suppose we have service A and service B, they communicate more frequently, but their CPU requirement is service 1 have 75% CPU requirement, and service B have 50%. So in that case we can't place both the services on the same node. So the proposed communication aware placement of instance algorithm will take care of the placement of microservices based on their communication and resource requirements. So here initial we have used two arrays. First one is assigned, second one is first one is assigned. This array will take care whether the microservices are assigned a node or not. Okay, now and one is weight w and s. So w is the weight, and s w is the weight assigned. Okay, means weight for each. Weight is the communication weight that service A and if B are communicating, then each edge is assigned some weight based on the communication. So w represent the weight and s represent the set of nodes or devices. Okay, so we have these things and we will arrange them in the decreasing order. Means the weight, the maximum communication weight should be on the first priority. As on second priority, the lesser weight. So this way we have arranged the or sorted the weights. Initially, while assigned is equals to 0, do. It means that while we have means the assigned means the node are not assigned a node, we will repeat the whole process. So we will extract the maximum weight, and then we will extract the maximum s. It means we will extract the weight edge from the array, and then we will extract the devices having the maximum CPU and memory. So we will extract these two things. After that, we will check if the CPU need of 2 means, when we extracted the maximum weight edge, we will also find out that the two microservices that edge is connecting. So we will identify their CPU need and memory need of those two microservices. And if the CPU need of microservice I and J is less than the residual CPU and memory of that node, then we will place those two microservices on that node, and we will update the assigned array for that I and J, and update the count I and count J. Count I and count J will maintain the instances of the microservice I and microservice J. So this way we will update all the arrays, and D CPU residual and memory represent the residual memory and CPU of that particular device. Okay, so this way we will update all the arrays. The next one is, if the CPU need and memory need of the microservice I and J is not fulfilled by that node, in that case we will pick randomly one microservice and place it on that device or on that node S. So then we will update all the values accordingly. So this way we will means place the microservices on the nodes. This is the case study application that we have used for the empirical analysis of the proposed approach. So this is the microservice application consisting of three services: customer service, catalog service, and order service. Customer service handle the customer related data, catalog service manages the item in the catalog, and order service is responsible for order processing by using catalog service and customer service. These are the results showing the processed request, failed request, and cost. Processed request percentage represents the number of successfully processed request out of total request. Failed request shows the number of failed request out of total request using the proposed app model and without using the proposed model. And cost percentage is measured in terms of CPU resources, that initially what was the percentage of the resources that were being used by the application, and with proposed model what is the number of resources used by the proposed approach. So from the results, these are the results of the customer service. From the results, we can see that the proposed approach is improving the processed request and reducing the failed request, but it is leading to the improved cost also. So this we can say is one little drawback of the proposed approach. So these are the graphical representation of the result. The first diagram is representing the process request of the customer service. Second one is representing the failed request of the customer service, and third one is the cost of customer service under various workload. Here SWL1 is SWL representing the synthetic workload generated using the tools available online, and Wikipedia is the real time workload available on the Google. So these are the results of the catalog service. Here also we can see that the proposed approach is resulting to the improved process request and decreased failed request, but also increased cost. So these are the graphical representation of the results for the catalog service. These are the results for the order service. We can see same the proposed approach is improving the processed request and decreasing the failed request, but also increasing the cost. This is the graphical representation of the empirical analysis for the order surveys. Now this is the simulation results of the whole application, and we are measuring the reliability of whole application and also the number of processed requests and failed requests for complete application. So these are the results, and we can see that the proposed approach is improving the reliability of the application. For each synthetic workload, we can see it has improved the reliability, and in the for the real time workload also it has improved the reliability of the microservice application. So we can conclude that the proposed approach is successfully improving the reliability of the microservice application, but also increasing the cost. So this work has been submitted into the Cluster Computing Journal, which is a SCI index journal, and we have also submitted the revision of the work. The third objective is to define a framework for maintainability improvement of microservices based applications using micro front end. So in initially from the literature survey, we identified four quality attributes. First one was the performance, second one was the reliability, which we have covered in our objective one and objective two. The next one was the maintainability. So this objective three will cover the maintainability improvement of microservices applications. In this, we will identify what we will identify the factors influencing the maintainability of microservices application, the metrics that can be used for measuring the maintainability of microservices application, and is there any existing work for performing the empirical analysis. So these are the papers that we have studied for the maintainability improvement of microservices. When we studied the papers, first thing we identified that a very less number of papers are or research work has focused on the maintainability of microservice application. Second was the most of the papers were working on the maintainability assessment, measurement, monitoring. These parameters were the main target of the existing works. Are very less research work focused on the maintainability improvement of microservices applications. So this is the our observation which we have concluded in this table, where either the existing research work was not focusing on the microservices architecture, or they were not focusing on the maintainability improvement. So our work target on the maintainability improvement of microservices architectures using the coupling, cohesion, and total complexity metrics. So the third objective contributes to identify the detailed information on the importance of maintainability in enhancing the overall quality of microservices application. Proposed a framework for improving the maintainability of microservices application by integrating micro front end and microservices architectural style. Performed an empirical analysis to evaluate the effectiveness of the proposed framework for microservices application. So this is the proposed work for the maintainability improvement of microservices application. So when we performed the literature survey, first thing that we identified was the existing work is lagging in improving the maintainability of microservice applications. We also identified that the monolithic front end of the microservice application is also contributing in the reduced maintainability of microservice application, and is introducing all the challenges that the practitioners and researchers were focusing in the monolithic architectural style. So in the proposed work, we overcome this challenge by dividing the front end and back end of the application into small independent services where each service will be developed by a separate team using a separate technology or programming language. So this way, if we want to modify one service, the other service will continue their working and will get unaffected. So this way the application will be easier to maintain. Also, the web page of each of the application can consist of a single or multiple services depending upon its requirement. So this is the working of the proposed work. So uh, uh, here the user our web page will be displayed based on the click made by the user, and the micro front end service that will be rendered on the web page will be decided by the routing layer based on the user click. If a user will make a http request, that request is transferred is handled by the appropriate service that is active at that time on that page. Then that service, that micro front end service will forward that request to the api gateway, which will further forward that request to the appropriate service, appropriate microservice. Then that microservice will process that user request and then send the response to the api gateway. Then api gateway forward that response to the micro front end service, and then micro front end service send that response to routing layer, which will present the response on the screen to the user. So this is the working of the proposed approach. The routing layer identify the user actions such as link, clicks, and map them to the appropriate front end service based on the predefined rules. These services are dynamically loaded and integrated into a web page, ensuring modular and seamless rendering of the user interface. If the user send a HTTP request, the currently active front-end service capture this request. The front-end service prepares the HTTP request with all relevant data and send it to the API gateway. The API gateway acts as an entry point to the backend system. The API gateway parses the request to determine which microservice is responsible for processing it. Depending on the API design, it may forward the request to one or multiple backend microservices. Each microservice performs a specific task and may communicate with other microservices as needed to fulfill the request. If multiple microservices are involved, their response may be aggregated by the API gateway to form a consolidated result. The API gateway sends the final response back to the front end service, which will process the result. The architectural metrics are used for assessing the maintainability of microservice application with and without the proposed framework. The metrics are categorized into four parts named basic metrics, coupling metrics, cohesion metrics, and total complexity metrics. These are the metrics that we have used for evaluating the performance of microservices application using and without using the proposed model. The first one is the basic metrics. So in basic metrics, we identify the number of services, the number of operations performed by each service and complete application, the number of providers means the services microservices that are providing services, any kind of service or any kind of data to other microservices. Consumer represent the consumer microservices which are using the services provided by the other microservices. And the importance of provider, it means we will identify the importance of each microservice based on its provider value, means to how many microservices it is providing services. So these five things are calculated by using these basic metrics. Next one is cohesion metrics. Cohesion metric is responsible to identify the uh, uh, means functional value of each microservice. The microservices application having a higher cohesion value and less total complexity value are considered as the easily maintainable applications. So cohesion metric will target to identify the functionality of the each microservice. So first one is the cohesion matrix. So in this metric, we will identify the operations or functions provided by each microservice. Next one is cohesion factor. So in cohesion factor, we will use the cohesion metric and we will divide it by f square minus f. So here f square minus f is calculated using the IP and provider and consumer metrics. So these values are calculated using are calculated using the basic metrics. Next one is a coupling matrix. So coupling matrix identify the coupling value between the microservices. In general, the coupling value between in an application should be minimum to have a easily maintainable application. So here we have used three kind of matrix: direct coupling, indirect coupling, and coupling factor. Direct coupling calculate the direct coupling between two microservices. Indirect coupling calculates the indirect coupling between two microservices. Like suppose service A and service 2 are communicating with each other. So they have a direct coupling, and if service B communicate with service C, then a microservice A and microservice C has a indirect coupling. So this way we calculate the coupling value for each microservice. Next one is the coupling factor. So the coupling factor is calculated using the IC and f square minus f value. Again, f square and f values are calculated using the basic matrix. Next one is total complexity matrix. Total complexity matrix is used to measure the total complexity of the microservice application. It includes three kind of metrics. The first one is total complexity metric of the microservice. Second one is complexity factor. And in the end, the final metric is total complexity metric in a system. So here we will use the previously calculated values to identify the total complexity of a whole application. So the TCM focus on the total complexity of each microservice by, and it is calculated using the coupling value, means coupling matrix, and also the basic matrix. Same way the coupling factor is calculated using the coupling factor value and the cohesion factor value. And in the end, total complexity value of the whole application is calculated using the coupling factor, complexity factor, and also the TCM of each microservice. So this is the case study application that we have used for evaluating the performance of the proposed approach. So here the case study application has four services: home service, seller service, buyer service, and about service. Home service. Uh, so in this the case study application, the front end of the application is monolithic, back end of the application is divided into the services using the microservices architectural style. So this is the case study application which has used the micro front end and microservices architectural style. So here we have divided the application into four different services: home service, seller service, buyer service, and about service. Each service has a separate team and is responsible for performing a single task only. The home service uh, is responsible to display and maintain information related to the home page of the application. Seller service is responsible for maintaining and displaying the information related to each seller. Buyer service is responsible to maintain and display information related to each buyer and their previous purchase history. About service is responsible to maintain and display the information related to each product available online. When the user access the application, then the browser will call the routing layer, which will call and assemble the respective service that are needed to displayed on the page based on the user action, and a single page will contain single or more number of services. These are the results that we have obtained for both architectural style, the proposed one and the existing one, for each service of the application. So interacting service, home service is interacting with three services, seller service is interacting with four services, uh, fourth number service, and home service is interacting with the service number three. It means that is buyer service, and the buyer service is communicating with the fourth service, that is about service, and about service is communicating with the seller service and buyer service, which is 2 and 3. So same way the interacting services are calculated for the micro front end e-shop application. So number of operations performed by each service in a monolithic front end is calculated, and the number of operations performed by each micro front end build application is also calculated. Now list of providers, consumers and IP for monolithic front end based application also calculated. These are the results, and this is the graphical comparison of coupling values of micro service application using monolithic front end and micro front end. So we can see that the coupling value of the microservice application using the monolithic front end is less than the coupling value of the microservice application using the monolithic front end. So we can say that the proposed approach is resulting into the reduced coupling values, which is also a good sign. Next one is cohesion values. So here we have calculated the cohesion values of both architectural style, and we can see from the graph that the proposed approach is having the higher cohesion value and using the proposed approach, and the lower cohesion values using the existing architectural style. So next one is the total complexity values. Again, we can see that the total complexity of the monolithic front-end based application is 3.88, and the total complexity of micro front-end based application is 1.05. So the proposed, we can say that the proposed approach resulted into the reduced total complexity. So we can conclude that the proposed approach is resulting to improve total complexity and the coupling values of the microservice application. So we can see, so since the coupling value and total complexity values are less using the proposed approach, so we can conclude that the proposed approach is resulting to the better or easily maintainable microservices applications. So these are the two papers that we have published based on the proposed work. The first paper is maintainability improvement of microservice based application using micro front end, and this paper is published in the journal International Journal of Computer and Applications, and this is a Scopus Index journal. The next paper is the empirical evaluation of microservices architecture, and this paper is published in International Conference on Communication and Intelligent Systems. Um, and this conference was a Scopus indexed conference. The next objective is objective 4, which is to define a machine learning model for proactive fault prediction in microservice application using trace logs and monitoring metrics. Till now, the existing work that we have seen has only focused on the fault, to identify the root causes of the faults, or they have proposed solutions for improving the faults, but all the solutions are focusing are the reactive based. It means after a fault occurs, then the solution is proposed. So it will be better if we can predict the fault and and recommend some solution for handling that fault. So because in this way the performance of the microservice application will remain unaffected. So this is the motivation that we should focus on the proactive approach rather than on a reactive approach. So this work has only focused on the fault prediction. The remedial actions for the fault management using the fault prediction results can be included in the future work. So these are the papers that we have studied to identify the existing gaps related to the fault management of microservice application, and we can clearly see from the literature that most of the studies are focusing on the fault localization, fault detection, fault classification of the microservice applications. So these are the studies that we included in the literature work. So contribution of the objective for is that the proposed work uses both machine learning and deep learning algorithm to predict the fault in microservice based application. It effectively extracts the monitoring metrics and trace logs to predict and locate potential faults within microservice architecture based system. Through extensive experiment conducted on a microservice case study, the model has demonstrated its usefulness and significant potential in applying deep learning algorithm and alongside monitoring metrics and trace logs. This is the flow chart depicting the proposed approach for fault prediction. We have a microservice application, and then we applied the workload on the application, then we collect the metrics and then predict the fault. Firstly, a synthetic workload is applied to the application using locust.io tool. After that, the required metrics including service name, instance ID, service invocation, chain response time, error code, CPU usage, memory usage, timestamp, and request ID are collected. After collecting all the metrics, fault prediction is done using RNN and random forest. In case study, we have used a hipster shop, which is a microservice case study application, which consists of four distinct microservices, including front-end service, card service, product service, product catalog service, currency service, payment service, shipping service, email service, checkout service, recommendation service, AD service, and load generator service. Each service has a separate working mentioned in these slides. These are the empirical analysis of the proposed work. So for the empirical analysis of the machine learning algorithms or deep learning algorithm, we have used mean absolute error, root mean squared error, and mean absolute percentage error metrics to assess how well the RNN and random forest model forecast faults in MSA based application. The fault forecasting accuracy using RNN and random forest model at different time interval T1, T2, T3, and T4 is presented below. So we can see from the results that RNN is leading to reduced or less errors compared to the random forest algorithms in all different time intervals. This is the graphical representation of MAE, RMSC, and MAPE using RNN in random forest. So we can see from all the graphs that RNN is leading to reduced error rate in all the cases. So we can use RNN for predicting the faults of microservices application using different collected data, and then we can use this data to recommend a remedial action in advance without affecting the performance of the or quality of microservice application. So this work is published in the paper Proactive Fault Prediction in Microservice Application using trace logs and monitoring metrics in International Conference on Progressive Innovation in Intelligent System at Data Science. It was a Scopus indexed conference. Conclusion. So in now we have concluded our work. We have performed a literature survey to identify the key quality attribute contributing to improve the overall quality of microservice application and also determine the potential of different ML type and technique in enhancing the QoS of microservices. We proposed micro front-end based framework for improving the performance and maintainability of microservices application. A multi-regression model is proposed for predicting the performance of microservices application. A novel approach is proposed for improving the reliability of microservice application and approach for accurately predicting the faults of microservices application is proposed. In future, the result of fault prediction model can be used for a proactive remedial action allowing application to maintain uninterrupted operation while minimizing computational costs, saving time, simplifying maintenance, and improving overall resource efficiency. The scalability of proposed solutions for each quality attribute should be evaluated using a real-time microservice application or application with a larger number of microservices. Reliability of microservices application can be influenced by several factors such as communication interruptions due to hardware issues, failure of external dependencies, and deployment strategies, etc. However, the proposed work focused only on the effective workload handling and robust microservice communication mechanisms. Uh, so in future, other factors can be targeted for improving the reliability of the applications. Performance, reliability, maintainability, fault tolerance, and security are identified as the quality attribute for improving QoS of microservice applications. While this work focuses on performance, reliability, maintainability, and fault tolerance, future research can prioritize improving the security of microservices application. In future, the application of the proposed maintainability framework should be tested across various types of applications and business requirements to provide valuable insight into its versatility and practicality in the real world scenarios. This is how we will organize our thesis. The chapter 1 will be the introduction, chapter 2 will be the motivation for each objective along with related work, chapter 3 will be the performance improvement and performance prediction of microservice architecture based application. Chapter 4 will be the reliability improvement of microservice architecture based application. Chapter 5 will be the maintainability improvement of microservice architecture based application. Chapter 6 will be the fault prediction of microservices architecture based application. Chapter 7 will be the conclusion and future work. This is the list of published papers in journals. The The first paper is micro front end based performance improvement and prediction for microservices using machine learning. Has been published in Journal of Grid Computing, which is a SCI index journal and has the impact factor 3.6. The next paper is maintainability improvement of microservices based application using micro front end, and this paper is published in a Scopus index journal named International Journal of Computers and Applications. This is the list of the published conference papers. So we have published three papers in Scopus indexed conferences, and one paper is published in A core ranking conference. This is the list of communicated journals. Are both papers are For both papers we have submitted the revision and resulting for the final results. These are the references that we have used in our research work. Thank you.